This is a podcast. And what is the podcast about? Well, the podcast is about a husband and wife duo. And they sit across from each other at a desk. Mm-hmm. And each week, one of them typically will research a topic.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, most of the time.
Statistically.
75 to 85% of the time. The research is done by the wife in the relationship.
The wife.
The wife in the relationship.
Yeah.
Some would say dominant wife, top wife.
Top wife?
And sometimes, most of the times, the bottom husband sits across from the top wife. And he just takes it.
Yeah.
And they record it and they play it. Mm-hmm. But sometimes,
Once in a while.
Once in a blue moon, the husband steps forward with a piece of paper and says, I have a document.
Okay.
And in the document are many things. I've opened many tabs.
I bet you did.
Some would say too many tabs have been opened.
What?
And what were the tabs opened about this week? Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you right now. The tabs that were opened this week are about Elon Musk's racist grandfather.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
Yeah, we're back. We're here for another episode, and this week is going to be a doozy.
Did you bring your blue Gatorade?
I have.
You hydrated right now?
I do not have blue Gatorade. I do have a third of a bottle of water.
We're not going to make it.
We're definitely not going to make it. I really fucked up on that because we just recorded a really fun episode of the warm-up.
Yeah.
Which everyone can always hear on our Patreon.
Yep.
Pearlmania500.net is if you want to join our Patreon. A lot of new members. A lot of new members who've been really enjoying the warm-up. They say it's that old parasocial feel that they used to get at the beginning of our episodes.
I think that implies that we don't have the same fun.
We just put it at the end now.
Oh, that's true.
We put it at the end when we do the shout-outs at the end of the episode for all the new Patreon members. They get to have their special name, and then they get up there and they get to feel special. They can use their government name if they want to.
They don't feel special. They are special.
Okay, good.
Words matter.
Okay, I know. I understand. You're not used to this because you don't have a laptop in front of you.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. I know what to do with your hands.
What's that?
Which is to go to the link that is in the show notes and click on the link that says see Alex live. And then if you're in Jersey City, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Dallas, or Phoenix, you can come see me live, do stand-up.
Pretty good segue.
Yeah, pretty good segue. In fact, today's warm-up episode was interrupted by one of those pretty good segues because you know what happened? We started recording and a radio station called me to schedule me for an interview to discuss an upcoming show.
Yeah.
Which was pretty wild.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, real radio station. We're too busy doing our little radio show of our own that is cast to pods.
That cracks up my dad, my Gen X dad.
Yeah.
Who's always like, let me get this straight. You guys just make radio shows? And we try to explain what podcast is.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you're describing old time radio.
Yeah. He's like, you talking about the thing you used to do with the tape, man?
He's like, you guys have a jingle?
I'm like, yeah, we have a jingle.
He's like an old time radio show. Yeah. How is this different than a radio show?
And I'm like, okay. And we listen him out. We hear him out.
He's not wrong.
He's
not.
like,
oh, you have sound effects? Because like he's picturing like the radio show.
We don't have sound effects.
Allegedly.
That like remember from the movie Annie when like they're like
no, he's picturing a Foley artist in the corner.
Yeah, like with the shoes, like tappa 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 tappa.
And then Hetty Green did what? She ate an onion. Crunch.
Yeah. But is he wrong?
No, he's not. If we get more Patreons, maybe we'll hire a Foley artist for one episode and do a very super descriptive.
Know a guy named Foley?
I do know a guy named Foley. In fact, it's actually deep lore that I used to live with a man named Foley who now is uber successful.
Do you think he'd come on and make the noises for us?
I don't think that H. Foley of the Are You Garbage podcast would come on the show.
Yeah, probably not.
He probably wouldn't. He'd probably be too busy being like, we bought a tour bus and I'm driving to California to perform for sold out theaters, you loser. And I'll be like, all right, whatever, bud.
Thanks.
No, I love you, Foley. I miss you. And let's go ahead and get the show started. For all of our new listeners, all right, wow. Way to jump in on this episode. But for everyone, if you are a member of the Patreon, you know you're not going to hear a commercial. But if you are not a member, you're going to hear an ad that we did not choose. That's being randomly chosen by and for you.
Yeah, based on your algorithm.
Based on the algorithm and your
May the
shopping
odds
habits.
ever be in your favor.
Yeah, based on your online surfing habits. So enjoy that. It's probably a company that we don't like.
It probably is.
Probably is. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. We're here and we're ready.
Let's go. What are we doing again?
So let me explain how this started.
I like that when I'm not like driving the car, I pay no attention.
You pay no attention. You're audibly yawning into the microphone.
I did it not while we were on air.
You did twice
I
while I
did?
hit record. You were like, it's like, okay.
It's not my fault. I drank the coffee. I took a nap. I'm trying to get myself together.
Okay, well, look at me.
Yeah?
This is about Elon.
Oh, right. Elon
Okay.
Musk.
So what happened was I sat down to start doing a podcast episode about the many racisms of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a lot about the pipelining of Elon. I wanted to discuss about how, because some people like, it started, this is where the thought process was. I was reading a post by Hank Green. You know Hank Green from the internet?
Yeah, he's delightful.
Nice guy. He was talking about watching an episode of ContraPoints.
Yeah.
Who was talking about...
Amazing. Love her.
ContraPoints is a YouTuber who does deep dive YouTubes and a...
and they're so aesthetically pleasing.
They're amazing. ContraPoints did a video about J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
And about how far down the transphobia pipeline J.K. Rowling is.
Yeah.
And Hank Green talked about how he had this video playing while he was getting like a scan for his cancer, and that the nurse or the tech that was in the room watched it over his shoulder and did not know how far J.K. Rowling was gone when it came to being a TERF and a transphobic and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us who have been deep in the internet for a very long time, especially those of us who've been deep in political fights on the internet, Elon being a Nazi is not new.
No.
I'm not hitting the allegedly button, by the way. Elon Musk is a Nazi.
Yeah.
He's surrounded by Nazis. He pipelines Nazis, all these different things. And in a future episode, I will get into that. We actually hired a researcher because Elon is such a giant topic that I said, pull some stuff. So I don't even know where to begin.
It was one of these things where we were like, this would be a great topic for us to discuss because I don't know much about this guy. I knew him as like the weird Tesla guy. And I knew that, and I knew that he owned an emerald mine because he's one of those like, I came up from my bootstraps, but it turns out he's just like really rich. That's all I basically knew about him, right? Yeah. And so when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, we should do an episode on that. And you were like, it'll be such a heavy lift. There's so much information. And it was one of the things where we were talking about like, should we invest in the idea of episodes about Elon Musk by hiring a research assistant for Elon Musk?
And I did. And if you guys wonder what we do with the Patreon, what we do with your Patreon money, we, besides use it for food, we invest in better equipment. And in this case, I got a research assistant who drew up a wonderful outline with all these different things. Now, when I was going over the outline, I started at the beginning, which is family.
Family.
And it started immediately, and I was reading this line about his grandfather, Joshua Haldeman.
Okay.
And in the very first line, there was a word I did not recognize. And so I looked it up. I Googled it, and I went to the Wikipedia. And before I knew it, I was 17 fucking tabs deep. And
on
now
page 1.
I have a 6-page document that I've handwritten, not using a single thing from the research assistant that we paid a lot of money for. I have written my own 6-page document.
On brand. Like we can never escape the truth of who we are.
The hyperfixation went so goddamn wild on this. It's fucking nuts. So this is about not Elon Musk.
No.
This is about his grandfather.
His grandpa.
His super racist grandfather.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start at the beginning. I'm going to take you back to the year 1902.
Okay.
Specifically, November 25th, 1902.
November 25th. Day after Thanksgiving? Day of Thanksgiving?
I'd have to look at when Thanksgiving's on a Thursday, but this is also, I think, before Thanksgiving was officially a federal U.S. holiday. Because that didn't.
A sad time.
I don't think that happened. I think the U.S. becoming No, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. No. I'm here to talk about Elon Musk, racist grandpa. I'm not looking up the fucking history of Thanksgiving. Okay?
I was so close.
You were so fucking close. Maybe you do it as a topic.
It's already in my list.
Fuck you. Okay. His grandfather was born Joshua Norman Haldeman in Pequot Lake, Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yep.
I thought they were from South Africa.
We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
It all starts in Minnesota. Now, this is Elon's mom's dad.
Got it.
Okay.
Elon's mom, I do know who she is.
May Haldeman.
By visual only, because she got really famous, popular on Pinterest and Instagram because she's like a retired model.
Yeah.
But she's still hella gorgeous.
Yes.
Because, money. And she like had a really big pop of fame on Pinterest and Instagram because she has like really beautiful gray white hair and she's an older woman who looks really nice. And so everybody's like, oh my God, this beautiful woman. And then I think I Googled her. I was like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is like the richest woman. Of course she looks so good.
Yeah. Or it's her genetics.
No,
I know.
What?
But that's the claim that they'll make. So Joshua Norman's born November 25th, 1902 in Minnesota. His father's name was John Elon Haldeman.
Okay.
That is where the name Elon comes from.
Yeah.
He was Elon Musk was named after Joshua Norman Haldeman's father.
Got it.
His middle name. When Joshua was 2, his father was diagnosed with diabetes.
Okay.
Which is a death sentence at that time.
Oh.
So insulin would not be developed as a diabetic treatment for another 16 years at the minimum. It's run out till the 1920s. And doctors were really arguing a lot of how to treat diabetes.
Yeah.
The 2 main ways to treat it were through 2 types of diets and opiates.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so it's like do a bunch of morphine and either eat way too much or eat nothing. So like a lot of people would starve to death once because with diabetes they'd have too much saliva, they'd be sweating, they'd have all these different problems, and people just did not understand what it was.
Yeah.
And so most people died within a few months of their diagnosis. Yeah. Joshua's mother, whose name was Almeda Jane Haldeman. Almeda. She didn't want to see her husband, John, suffer under the death sentence that most of the doctors were putting forward, especially in a rural area like where they were in Minnesota. So she started to seek whatever treatment she could find.
Okay.
And she ended up looking into alternative treatments.
Of course. By
studying at a chiropractic school in Minneapolis.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
She earned her doctorate of chiropractic certificate.
What?
In just a few months.
Okay, of course.
She rapidly got it.
Only a few
months. She then moved the entire family to Saskatchewan, Canada.
Okay.
Where Alameda Haldeman became the very first recorded chiropractor in all of Canada. Elon Musk's
that's so
maternal great-grandmother is the first Canadian chiropractor.
Perfect.
So they moved up there.
Yeah.
She's kind of treating him while also setting up a chiropractic.
She's treating diabetes with a chiropractic license.
Yes.
Perfect. That makes sense.
She's like just hitting him in the back.
Just cracking some bones.
I don't know what exactly.
That's going to help your blood sugar.
Now, there's a little bit of this again, it's of that weird time in the early 1900s, especially before the 1930s, where it's like, try chewing food more. That's chiropractic. Like, it's weird and like, it's every alternative medicine. John does live for another 4 years.
All right.
And then he just dies.
Yeah.
Almeda then remarries, and she marries a local rancher named Heseltine Wilson.
Heseltine.
I know. Mrs. Alameda Haldeman Wilson then opens up a restaurant and later becomes a teacher at a local school.
Okay, so she's a busy lady. She likes to do stuff.
She's very busy. They're very out there.
Yeah.
Joshua, now a little bit older, grows up on his stepfather's ranch. And he, in his own words, becomes extremely self-reliant.
Okay.
I read quite a few documents about him that we'll get more into that include excerpts from different autobiographies and autobiographical sketches that he had given to interviewers over the years.
So was he self-reliant or was he neglected?
It doesn't sound like he was neglected.
Okay.
It sounds like that he grew up on a ranch in the middle of nowhere in Canada, where they did not believe in traditional medicine, and a lot of sort of things like that. But he was super into like horseback riding. He was super into being a rancher. He himself liked to talk and like show off about like his. He was very much that Teddy Roosevelt type of deal, where he's like, "Look at me, I'm strong and I'm strapping," and all these different things. Kind of, yeah, shirtless on a horse. I gotcha. So eventually, when he went to school, he eventually went to 9 separate colleges and universities.
Wait, did he get degrees from each, or is he just bouncing?
I could not tell if he failed out or just bounced between the institutions. However, the only thing we do know that is verifiable is none of the institutions or colleges that he claimed to go to have record of him graduating.
Okay, yeah. So
that's all we'll say. That's what I will say. In 1922, Joshua was having eye trouble.
Okay.
Now, in later pictures, you see that he's wearing glasses. But in 1922, he did not want to admit that he had poor eyesight. And he could not find help for his poor eyesight through traditional medicine. Because, again, his family didn't believe in it.
Oh, okay.
So he traveled to a place where he knew he could get treatment. He traveled to Davenport, Iowa, to a special school in Davenport, Iowa, where he then went under extreme chiropractic treatment directly from the man who would become his teacher and mentor and lifelong friend, B.J. Palmer. Because he went to the Palmer School of Chiropractics.
Shut up.
Where he studied for 4 years. And he graduated in 1926 as a doctor of chiropractic.
Perfect.
And after the 4 years of treatment and study, he would claim that he would not need glasses for another 20 years. Due to the treatments administered by his close personal and lifelong friend and possible dad murderer, B.J. Palmer. I can't tell you about when B.J. Palmer... I almost spit a fucking drink. I was like, don't tell me our lore podcast is now self-feeding itself. Now, after graduation, Joshua did not immediately become a chiropractor. In fact, he actually returned to farming.
Oh, okay.
And he got super into being a rancher, being into farming. Because again, he's like, when you start reading into his life, he very much wants to be a Renaissance man. Okay. He wants to be okay at everything.
Like his mom, who runs a restaurant and a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. He's very much in that sort of field, which actually is very much like Elon, right? Yeah. Elon wants to be the head of Twitter, also do rockets, also do the Boring Company, also doing all these different fucking things. He doesn't ever want to seem to settle on one.
He doesn't want to do one thing really good. He wants to do 10 things really mediocre.
And then tell you he's the best at all of them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where this thing really comes through. So after he graduates, he goes back to farming. And pretty soon, I think it was within 6 or 7 years, the Great Depression hit. And when that happened, the bank started to call in loan payments, especially on the farm equipment.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't keep up with the payments for the local banks for the farm equipment that he had leased. And he lost it all. He lost the family farm. He lost everything. This experience created a deep hatred of banks, bureaucrats, and government overreach. That would remain in Joshua's mind for the rest of his life. From this moment forward, he's like, fuck a bank, which, fair. Fuck a bureaucrat, which, again, fair. And fuck a government. But he does it in a weird way.
Yeah.
It's more of just like, I noticed they all have a certain nose.
Okay.
Anyway, so Joshua, now that he doesn't have a farm, he doesn't have much else to do, he starts getting involved in local politics.
Oh, so he hates it, but he's getting into it.
No, he hates the government. He doesn't hate politics.
Oh, okay.
There's a difference, right? So, like, he's getting involved in, like, farmer co-ops and farmer political associations. So, like, the lobbying groups that are going to talk to members of parliament in Canada.
Yeah.
He also debated at one point about moving back to Minnesota. He thought, because he is an American citizen.
Yeah.
He could have moved to America. And he debated on that and decided not to. He also got married during this time and had his first kid.
Okay.
He really gets into political organizing, though.
Okay.
He really throws himself into meetings, but at the same exact time, he doesn't have a job.
Okay, you gotta have a job.
So he's living off of government relief programs.
Shut the fuck up.
And he's traveling all around the general, like, middle of Canada. Mm-hmm. He's working odd jobs like construction worker.
There's nothing I love more than someone who's getting government subsidies, complaining about, number one, socialism, bureaucracy, government. That's perfect.
Oh, it's almost as if Elon Musk, who lives on government subsidies because he's a military contractor and who gets all these tax write-offs, who is now currently printing AI images of Kamala Harris and calling her a communist dictator. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That guy, you think that these two might have something in common?
I mean, genetically, yeah.
So Joshua takes odd jobs: construction worker, cowboy, working at local ranches, rodeo performer.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
I could not tell if that meant rodeo clown.
I'm hoping we did.
I really hope it is. I'm like, you know what? Your grandpa was a rodeo clown. It's fucking hilarious. But also, rodeo clowns are the most important people at a rodeo.
Oh, for sure.
Like, people don't actually understand this a lot of times, but the rodeo clown is the safety overseer of every fucking rodeo. The reason why they're clowns, the reason they're dressed up the way they are, is one, to keep the children happy, but two, to distract the bull that the man has been thrown off of.
Yeah.
So that way they can get the man to safety from doing the dumb thing that he's trying to do.
I know a guy who was a rodeo guy, and his life was saved by the clowns.
Yeah, it's always saved by the clowns.
And the thing is, his life was saved, but his personality wasn't, and he became such a bad... He had such a bad head injury.
Yeah.
He just turned into the worst person.
It's almost as if you shouldn't get on a bull's back as someone ties a rope tightly around its nuts. That's how they do it, by the way.
I know.
That's why it's kicking. It's trying to get a rope off its balls.
It's a weird hobby. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So Joshua Haldeman, Elon Musk's racist grandfather, then also lived as a hobo in tent cities. While he's traveling around, he doesn't really have a place to stay. He stays with fur trappers. He stays with loggers. Like, it's just all these different places. And again, we're also in undeveloped parts of Canada.
Yeah.
We're not in Montreal. We're not in Vancouver. We're in, like, if you're playing the video game Red Dead Redemption 2, it feels very much like the logging area when you're in the video game there. That's kind of where it is. There's just fur trappers. Fur trappers still a job.
Yeah.
So eventually... he's looking for work, he's looking for purpose, and finally he moves his family back to Saskatchewan.
He brought his family to live in the hobo towns?
It was very unclear.
Okay.
I don't know if the family is traveling with him or if he left them at home and he left and was sending money back.
Got it.
I just know that he was married for 11 years.
Yep.
Returned to Saskatchewan, finally opened a chiropractic office.
Yeah.
Founded a debate society.
Down.
Yeah, he opened an office. He founded a debate society, and then he ended his marriage of 11 years.
What?
Yeah, so they said it was due to financial difficulties. The Great Depression was just too hard, and they just ended it.
Yeah.
Which, fair. I don't know what else. I have no other information about his first wife. I mean, I found her name, but it's not really that important. And his first kid.
I bet she was like, I liked you a lot when you weren't here. Jesus. And then when he came home, she's like, I got to get out of here.
That's what most of Elon's exes say. It's another run in the family. Now, there is a thing that I do want to bring up right now because we're right before World War II. And this was a weird note I found at the end of a document.
Sure.
And they made it very clear that Joshua Haldeman hated Coca-Cola with a passion.
I'm sorry, what?
He hated Coca-Cola with a passion because in Canada before the Second World War, Coca-Cola still contained cocaine.
He hated that?
He hated that.
Oh, boo.
Because he looked at it as a medicine that was being overprescribed to people. Ooh. And he would often tell a story about a friend of his who drank 20 Cokes a day.
Yeah, bro.
Who then completely deteriorated, like fell apart physically and mentally, and eventually committed suicide.
Okay.
And so he would often talk about the evils of the Coca-Cola Corporation and how much he hated Coke and all this different stuff. And that was just a thing that I just needed to bring up because it was just like such an insane, like there was a paragraph about this.
Yeah.
At the end, they were just like, by the way, we couldn't figure
Coca-Cola
out where to put this in, but this dude fucking if he knew.
I mean, if I saw somebody get chronically addicted to Coca-Cola to the point of death, I wouldn't like Coca-Cola either.
I mean, I would feel the same way about Purdue Pharma.
And they'd be like, is Pepsi okay?
So around the time that his marriage failed, Dr. Joshua Norman Haldeman, who now usually goes by J.N. Haldeman, because it's that time where let's use initials, right, J.K. Rowling?
Sure.
J.N. Haldeman. He joined Technocracy Inc.
What the fuck is that?
Technocracy Inc?
Yeah.
Technocracy, Inc. is short for incorporated.
Yeah. What's Technocracy?
Technocracy Inc. is an organization that advanced a more rational and productive society headed by technical experts to run the North American continent.
I don't like where this is going.
So Technocracy Incorporated itself stated that it was not a political movement. No.
Okay.
They stated that they were an educational and research organization promoting a radical restructuring of political, science, and economic life in the United States and Canada under the central tenet of science.
So the Heritage Foundation, but for science?
Not quite.
How not?
So under Technocracy Inc.,
Okay.
their plan, first thing, I want you to close your eyes.
Okay, I'm closing.
Okay, now imagine there's no countries.
Okay.
It's easy if you try.
I don't think I like that song.
No, okay. Open your eyes again. But first thing, they want to get rid of countries.
Oh, okay.
They just want to have a single organization, and North America would be renamed
Okay.
the Technate.
Oh, I hate that.
Okay, and this would be a techno-utopia.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it would be controlled and operated by experts, most specifically engineers.
Oh my God.
So engineers, economists, medical people, anyone who's an expert in their respective field of study.
Okay.
And this would do away with politicians, partisan political parties, businessmen. And in fact, there wouldn't be any more income inequality under Technocracy Inc. because there would be no more money. Money is part of the price system. And another big part of the price system is fiat currencies. They would do away with all of this and instead create an energy-based kind of like conscript that everyone would be given at birth. So you would have everyone would have a limited amount of energy tickets that they could spend. The end, and all of this would be set up through social engineering. It's not crazy.
Okay. All right. You just said so many things that don't make real sense to me. So
They all wore gray.
Oh God.
I'm dead serious. There's pictures of them, and all of them are wearing gray.
I hate this so much.
It is like cult adjacent because it feels very much the way Scientology feels, where it's like,
Okay. Energy tickets. You didn't go deeper into that because I'm so confused by. It's like Donald Trump believes that there's only finite amount of energy.
Yes.
That's why he doesn't work out because he's out of shape, that one.
Yes.
And so he doesn't work out because he believes that there's a finite amount of energy and he doesn't want to burn through it.
So, okay, let me start at the beginning with Technocracy.
Okay.
Okay, so Technocracy was founded by a man, did I not save his name? Here we go. American engineer named Howard Scott founded the idea of technocracy, not Technocracy Incorporated.
Yeah.
The technocratic idea was created by an American engineer named Howard Scott in 1916. He created an organization called the Technical Alliance, and the Technical Alliance was created to explore economic and social trends across America, doing a scientific background. So we wanted to take a look at economic and social trends, and instead of just writing down what they are, we want to study them using the scientific method.
Sure.
They also wanted to do an energy survey of all of North America.
And their personal energy?
No, like actually, I'm talking about oil. I'm talking about power, hydroelectric.
That's what I thought.
I'm talking about, they're talking about, and when I say energy, I mean literally energy.
So that's what I mean. Like, they're saying that you're born with a certain amount of energy tickets, but that's to pay your utility bills?
That's to pay anything. You would be spending, you would
have a finite amount of them. So you would run out at certain points. So if you made it to 40, you'd run out and you couldn't do anything anymore.
They have plans around all of this.
Are they good?
I don't know. I didn't get that deep into it. It's a shit. Because here's the thing. In 1916, they form. 1921, they disband. They never completed the energy survey.
They didn't. Oh.
And they kept.
I've been holding my tongue about being like, we're putting engineers in charge of this.
Yeah, no, hold on. They didn't get anything done because what kept happening is this guy Howard Scott would keep creating organizations to push his idea, and then factionalism between the engineers would set up.
Exactly.
And then there'd be splitting, and then they would all fall apart. And so he kept creating new orgs, and then there would be like, no, we're the true technocratic society over here. And then that organization would die off in about a year. And it wasn't until the 1931 when he forms Technocracy Inc. And that's the one that carries forward.
Okay.
Now, Technocracy's plan, like I said, was to replace the price system with a system based on energy. He never gets this done. The idea was to establish a value for all goods and services produced on the entire continent of North America, but not by measuring it based on the labor that was expended or how much money would have to be spent, but based on the amount of energy used to produce them. So again, and he means energy, he means literal energy. Coal to burn. How much we'd be looking at the BTUs,
not the human energy,
not the human energy.
He said not labor,
because he's trying to remove that idea and replace it with a subjective idea of humanity and replace it with the objective idea of energy that you can measure.
Okay, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard, because if your big plan is to remove the value of labor from the human component in all of this, eventually humans become cogs in a machine where they have no value because they are not considered human.
Yeah, it's literally the movie Metropolis.
Yeah.
So the thing you need to know about the Technocracy Inc. is they have their most widely circulated image, how they would explain it.
Okay.
Is they had this promotional picture of a streetcar. You know a streetcar, right? Where it's like a trolley.
Yeah.
And a big problem they used to have, especially back in the 1910s and things like that, is people would not go inside the streetcar.
Okay.
They would ride on the outside.
Okay.
So they would hang off like in Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Right? Roger Rabbit, they're always hopping on and off the LA trolleys and all this different stuff so they don't have to pay. And it's a big problem because it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
So his point, the way they used this and they explained it was, engineering solutions will always succeed where legislation or fines fail to adequately deal with social problems, right? So legislatures would sit there and be like, we shouldn't allow people to hang on the outside of the trolley.
Yeah.
Right? And they will set up a fine. If you get caught, you'll be arrested, all these different things.
Yeah.
And he was like, no. If passengers insist on riding on the car's dangerous outer platform, the solution is to remove the platform.
I knew it. I knew that's what you're going to say. It's what they do to benches because they don't want homeless people to sit down.
Exactly.
And now there's no fucking seating anywhere 100%. You go.
Now, here's the fun part about this.
Yeah.
I was looking up more about Technocracy. I was trying to find like a couple other things that I couldn't really find great information. But of course, Google immediately dumped me onto a subreddit, which was a Today I Learned.
Yeah.
And it had 51,000 upvotes.
Okay.
Explaining there was this society of people who wanted engineers to run everything. Oh my God. And they wrote this amazing thing. And all these people, every Redditor was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And the top, finally, it was like the second or third top comment was like, who chooses who's the good engineers?
Yeah.
Because again, this is an anti-democratic association.
Exactly.
They don't believe in representative. They don't, not just liberal democracy, representative democracy. They want to remove the vote from people and have it be chosen by a shadowy cabal of people who then also write the test. So like okay, no, it's the best engineers. All right, well, how do we know they're the best engineers? Because they passed the test. Who wrote the test?
Yeah. It's
the same way where, our AI hiring system isn't biased. Well, who designed the AI hiring system? This guy who's kind of racist.
I don't want to keep bringing up Elon because this isn't about him. It's about his weird grandpa.
Yeah.
But didn't he just tweet about this? How he thinks the government should be run by a bunch of chosen alpha males?
Yes. In fact, in 2009, I believe, he has said repeatedly that when his colony on Mars that he no longer talks about, when the Martian colony would be created, it would be run as a technocracy.
Oh, labor slaves.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, because
100%.
There won't. Okay, so if you were to build, let's say, big warehouses where labor was being done on Mars, there would be no oversight because there's no government, and therefore.
But the engineers would run everything.
The engineers would run everything, so they'd be shuttled up there.
And you can't tell the engineer what's wrong because the engineer is the expert.
Yeah.
And there's no system to counter the engineer.
Yeah.
With the exception of only an equal or higher level engineer. And Elon will choose who they are.
Yeah.
Because it's worked out so well for Twitter. So
okay. Away from him.
Yeah.
But so I'm just saying I'm just aligning again the fact that he's still in this.
Yeah. So this is they had so many crazy things, but which failed. The thing that I found so funny about it being on Reddit is the fact that the founder of this, Howard Scott, I told you he's an American engineer. He's not a certified engineer. What? He's an engineer the way Redditors are engineers. He's
for free, unpaid.
He's into science the way a Redditor is very much like, I'm into science because I have a periodic table T-shirt. Like he's a fan. I'm literally wearing a
member of Deep Space Nine because you have a Deep Space Nine T-shirt on.
Yeah, you can see a wormhole on my chest.
You get a little wormhole.
So these ideas again sound good on paper because they're just fantasy. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So in the late 1930s, not only did J.N. Haldeman join Technocracy Inc., but by the latter half of the 1930s, he was the Canadian president of the Canadian chapter.
So he's the best engineer.
He is
and you never told me he went to engineering school.
He never went to engineering school. He is still a chiropractor. Yep. So by 1940, Technocracy Inc. was banned in Canada.
Yeah, okay, that checks out.
Now, they were banned due to their alleged opposition to World War II.
Hey, babes, why were they opposed to it?
So here's the thing. This is actually one of the things where I'm like, they should not have been banned.
Okay.
It was a misunderstanding. It actually was. They are not a Nazi-aligned organization, any of these different types of things. They are actually so weird and so anti-political that they are like anti-war because war is a waste of energy and resources.
Got it.
So because they're just like, no, we're just resource hoarding little goblins.
Yeah.
We should just be hoarding resources. However...
and not redistribute them to anybody else.
No, they should be redistributed through the engineers. When you're 25... I actually left this part out. They would once they did the full energy survey, they would divide the total amount of energy used by everything by the number of citizens in the technate over the age of 25, and issue each of those citizens an equal number of energy certificates, whether they were employed or not. They wanted to make sure that people only had a 16-hour work week, but on a 24/7 schedule that was weirdly stagnated. So that way, no company would ever actually be closed, but people would work less. It was just really weird.
So we'd all be on call.
No, it's weird. Listen, you can look it up.
This
more.
is what Walmart does, so they don't have to pay overtime.
Yeah. The certificates would have been their currency, though.
Yeah.
They basically reinvented a Bitcoin.
Oh,
that's what this really comes down to. Is they're just like, this is just early Bitcoin. So it was banned because they were openly oppositional to war because they're an anti-political organization.
Okay.
They viewed the Nazi Party as political. They also hated communists because they thought communism is the wrong way to deal with resources. They don't like capitalists because that's wasteful towards so they just hate everybody.
Yeah.
In this really weird way, while all wearing gray suits and standing up. The gray suits is like, it's weird. Like when I looked them up, I was like, these guys are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like even for the 1940s, it feels just odd.
So they get banned.
And on October 8th, 1940, Joshua Haldeman was arrested by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and charged with belonging to an illegal organization under the Canadian Defence Act because he printed a Technocracy Inc. Flyer. He paid for it to be printed in a local newspaper.
Oh.
And so he was arrested.
Okay.
By 1941,
he's going to think that's a government overreach.
He did think it was a government overreach.
Yeah,
100%.
Sure.
Yeah, 100%. By 1941, Haldeman left Technocracy Inc.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And when we come back after this break,
this little break,
we're going to take a little break. We will start talking more about what he did after Technocracy because I feel like everyone just learned a lot.
I feel like I learned so much and I'm still pretty confused. And I want to say, listen, if you're an engineer or you know an engineer, I'm not saying what you do isn't awesome. But every engineer I met, I don't want them all getting together and deciding whether or not I get to pay my utility bill.
No, it's actually worse than that. I've had, whether it be engineers, IT people, anything like that, people who work in the technical professions, they're very, very good at getting hey, I need you to take this hairband, right, and make it smaller. I can do that. Yeah. Awesome. They are not able, though, to make a user interface that anyone can understand that isn't an engineer. And that's the problem with taking engineers and then saying that they're going to run a human society.
Yeah.
That's not what they're here for.
Nope.
It's not what they're here for. Also, I feel like most of Technocracy could have been taken down by a spectrum test, but that's a different story here or there. But we'll get back into that after this break. Is there anything else about Technocracy you're confused about?
Oh, just in general, it's deeply confusing and weird, but we can move past it for sure.
Okay, good. Because when we get back, we'll talk more about Elon's racist grandpa.
Okay.
We'll get more into...
He hasn't seemed racist, just weird so far.
Yeah, no. I wanted to really couch this in part 2. Part 2, where I have to keep reminding people these are not my words.
Oh, no.
Sure, instant ramen is a quick meal, but is that really what you want to be eating? When you want to save time and eat well, you need Factor. Factor's no prep, no mess meals are dietitian approved and get sent right over to your front door. With over 25 meal options each week, everything tastes amazing and takes just 2 minutes to prepare. Just throw a Factor meal in the microwave or on the skillet and you're good to go.
Factor meal has been incredibly important to my life.
And our marriage.
Yeah. While Alex was away at the DNC specifically, and all the other times that you've bounced out to go do different events.
Yeah.
And not having to think about one meal a day is so important sometimes.
But the problem we have now is when I returned from Chicago, you set aside one Factor meal. I had not had any because you've been eating them.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, yeah, they're good. And I'm like, I came home to Gouda chicken.
Yeah.
It took exactly 2 minutes, exactly 2 minutes in the microwave. And it was one of the greatest meals I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
It is a smoked Gouda chicken with cubed potatoes and pepper green beans on the side.
Yeah, red pepper green beans.
And it's just so good and it's so fresh.
And now there's actually a fight in our household who gets to eat it this week.
Yes, 100%.
Well, here's the thing. I got 2 of them, one for you, one for me. But now you're claiming you get the other one too.
You can eat all the other ones.
No.
I'm offering you order 8 meals a week, right? You order 8 of them.
Yeah.
So I will have 2, and then you can have the 6 other ones.
I ordered 8, and I got 2 of each,
I don't
so
want
we could
2 of
each
each.
try.
I just want 2 Goudas, okay?
Or would you prefer if I got 8 Goudas?
Well, you know what? We can make it easy.
Yeah.
Because Factor allows you to choose 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximum protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Whatever you're looking for, Factor's got you covered. You like how I pulled that together? Head to factormeals.com/toomany50 and use code toomany50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code toomany50 at factormeals.com/toomany50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active, or you can go to the show notes and just follow the links from there.
Try the Gouda.
Listen, the Gouda, that's the goat right there, all right? We're back.
Air horns.
And I did that thing that I do to you sometimes where I accidentally cut myself off like a line too early. Because, I said he left in 1941.
Yeah.
Elon Musk racist grandpa, Joshua Haldeman. He left Technocracy Inc. because he felt disillusioned by the organization. And it should be noted that in 1943, Technocracy Inc. was unbanned in Canada.
Oh, it was unbanned.
It was unbanned. And in fact, the organization itself still exists to this day.
Okay.
But it was unbanned in 1943 when it became very clear to the Canadian government that these guys were not anti-war.
No.
And they were not like pro-Nazi or anything else. In fact, they were demanding at this point, the engineers took a look at it and they came back and they said, no, if we want to win the war, there should be 100% conscription. No one should be allowed to not fight in the war. And then the government went, well, these guys are fucking nuts. But there are type of nuts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
Again, the same idea of the rubber band.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we know how to fund. We know the solution.
So the war is won once one side is completely dead? That's not what we said. Well, let's put all of our men into it because then at least the war will be over. The goal is to end the war. And you're like,
But we need people at home.
We need to. Okay, Jesus Christ. But yeah, they wanted 100% conscription.
Perfect.
So Haldeman, like I said, he left Technocracy. He really liked the political organizing. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't happy with the parties that were around him. So he tried to form his own political party.
Okay.
Didn't work out.
Oh.
He tried to run for office. Didn't work out. He tried to run for federal parliament.
Is he not likable?
It's weird because I would say among today, he wouldn't be considered... It's difficult to tell.
Okay.
I would say
because he's not winning anything. He's getting kicked out of stuff.
He's not getting kicked out. He's dropping out.
Okay.
Because he does, in a lot of these organizations and things like that, throughout his life, he's able to get leadership positions.
Yeah.
To the general public, though, he's not likable.
See, that's the thing right there. That's the thing is when you've worked at enough companies, the people that make it to leadership aren't likable.
No.
They're not, you never...
Which is one of the reasons why he doesn't like democracy, is because, like, the general people...
People have to like you to vote for you.
Yeah.
And, like, in middle management, it's like, oh, well, we're just going to put you here, even though everybody below you doesn't like you, would never vote for you.
His clients like him. People around, obviously his family. In fact, in 1942, he gets married again.
Oh.
Yeah, he goes in, he starts taking up dance, and he falls in love.
Loves a hobby.
He falls in love with his dance teacher. Her name is Winifred Josephine Fletcher.
The teacher.
Yep. So he gets married to her.
Winnie.
Winnie. She does go by Winnie, actually. Yeah, Winnie and Joshua get married, and over the next few years, they have 4 children.
Okay.
Including twins, May and Kay Haldeman.
May and Kay?
May and Kay.
Is that a joke?
Nope, that's the twins' name, and May is Elon's mother.
Yeah.
So May Haldeman.
May and Kay.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
In 1943,
all right,
Haldeman he's a bigger member of the Dominion Council of Canadian Chiropractors.
Okay.
Also known as the DCCC, which is we would call DC cubed. Because that is the same initials of the Delaware County Community College, where I have an associate's degree in general studies.
Yeah.
I talk a lot of shit on chiropractor degrees, but I'm over here with my 6 years to get a 2-year associate's. So the Dominion Council of Canadian Chiropractors had a meeting with the Canadian Army.
Okay.
And the meeting was about having chiropractors go over to the European theater of war.
Okay.
And treat soldiers as they were fighting in World War II.
Okay, no.
So the Minister of National Defense did say, you know what? You can enlist as orderlies, but I refuse to call you a doctor.
Get him, bitch.
And then the head of the Canadian Army Medical Corps was basically just like, yeah, and you wouldn't be listed as non-combatants either.
You have to fight too.
You have to fight. Orderlies fight. It's only the doctors and nurses have like the Red Cross. They're like, we're not giving you a Red Cross badge. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
You're not hanging out with Hawkeye Pierce, babes.
Yeah, no. You either are you are either getting enlisted and drafted, or you're doing this. And so the chiropractors pointed out that, some of our allies in World War II, they treat medical doctors and chiropractors equally. Specifically, the Soviet Union.
Okay, who does that say who?
And no one did ask, though, if these Canadian chiropractors wanted to be treated as doctors by being transferred to the siege of Stalingrad to fight alongside the Soviets. Never came up.
Okay.
So I just want to point that out. But I just like it's very funny to me, the idea of being shot on the beaches of Normandy. And a guy running up and being like,
let me crack your neck.
You know what it is? It's not the bullet. No, it's your energy's off.
Yeah.
Let me do some Reiki. Like, it's very fucking...
You know what? Your spine is misaligned. I'm going to realign you.
I see the problem. It's not your missing leg. You need to be gluten-free.
Yeah, you have a leaky gut.
It's your gut. And it's your gut
biome.
Your biome's off. And by biome being off, I mean you're missing the lower half of your body.
Oh, no.
It is a leaky gut. It's from bullets.
No. That's not funny.
So in 1943 again, while still doing the chiropractic and still enjoying his new marriage, Haldeman joined another political party.
Okay, great. Which one?
The Social Credit Party of Canada.
Oh, no. Social credit. That sounds like what they do in China.
Yes, this is the thing that conservatives often yell, that this will happen here. Social credit. Social credit in China is different than this, though.
Okay.
The Chinese social credit score is kind of, honestly, it is Reddit upvotes. There's the one episode. What's that show I really like? The Orville.
Yeah.
The Orville, which is if you like Star Trek, watch The Orville. It's great. I know it seems kind of shitty at first, but it gets really, really good.
Yeah.
In Orville, they go to a planet where everyone has an up or down vote on their chest, and people could see you and they don't like you. They can downvote you enough. And if they downvote you too much, you can't do certain things.
Yeah.
And eventually you can be executed. But social credit score in China is kind of the same sort of idea where you have to have a score of a certain area to be able to access public goods.
Yeah.
The social credit party in Canada came out of one specific province, but it expanded. I think it was out of Alberta. It expanded. The idea is so complicated that I could not understand it.
All right.
It has something to do with I want to say farmers should sell things for less and then the government pays more. I could not figure it out. Mm-hmm. All I know is when I went to the other areas where it's economists discussing it, every economist is like, this is the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. And then even the guy who created social credit was like, yeah, this isn't supposed to be a real economic system. This is supposed to be part of an economic system. And he repeatedly described it as an economic view on Christian altruism.
Oh, no.
So there's a whole Christian... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jan Haldeman eventually becomes the provincial leader of, at a province level.
Of another party. A failure party of weirdos.
Yes. And then he eventually also becomes the party's national chairman.
Perfect.
After multiple failed runs for parliamentary office, every 2 years, basically.
Yeah.
The Social Credit Party of Canada is Canada. The Social Credit Party of Canada is notable for its belief in this broken economic theory that everyone agrees is stupid.
Yeah.
Its vehement opposition to communism. Okay. It is very much an anti-communist organization.
We're not sharing or caring, y'all.
Yeah. It's also considered one of the most overtly anti-Semitic political parties in Canadian history.
Wait, why? What? Wait, why is it anti-Semitic? You didn't say anything like that before.
Oh, because a big part of this is about getting rid of banks and the bankers who control them in international finance, and because of its hatred of socialism. Let me explain. Haldeman, if you read very short summaries, people would point out that Haldeman did his best to beg party members and other members of the party and things like that to not be overtly anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. He said, don't overdo the dog whistles, basically. And when you read it, they'll be like, oh no, he really didn't like the anti-Semitism. Absolutely not. Bullshit. Loved the anti-Semitism. He didn't like the fact that the press noticed.
Ah, I see.
And he didn't like the fact that the yokels in the middle of fucking nowhere would be like, it's the Jews' fault. He would show up and be like, no. It's international financiers and socialists.
Globalists.
Yep. It's almost as if they should be using the echo emojis. So this is an actual newspaper interview that I was able to find some quotes from. Okay. Where it was brought up that, hey, Haldeman was kind of cornered because one of let me just start here. This is a direct quote from Elon Musk's grandfather.
Look into the camera and say it again.
This is a direct quote from Elon Musk's grandfather, chiropractic doctor Joshua Norman Haldeman. Quote, the evidence indicates that anti-Semitism is a weapon of international finance and socialism to introduce totalitarianism, end quote.
Okay.
So this argument was placed in an article that was defending a Social Credit Party of Canada affiliated newspaper. Now that newspaper printed in full the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
All right.
So for those of you who don't know what the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is, it is a debunked paper that states kind of the secret Jewish plans on how they're going to run the world.
Yeah.
And it was famously reprinted not only by the Social Credit Party of Canada's affiliated newspapers, but by the Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II, and other czars. It was highlighted by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, and it was also reprinted repeatedly in multiple languages by Henry Ford.
Yeah.
of Ford. Like the car,
Ford.
Huge bigot. Henry Ford is one of like the ultimate bastards. We'll get into that at a different date. So, but also a guy that Elon Musk looks up to.
Yeah.
So
I got into cars, right?
Yep. So there was an article, and Haldeman had to defend this newspaper.
Okay.
When presented with the fact that that this document was held up in a Swiss court, the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was held up in a Swiss court, and a Swiss court stated that this was obviously a forgery, that this document is not true. It's a lie, everything about it. Haldeman retorted that the defense in the court case wasn't allowed to present their full evidence, and that it was obvious that the plans in the Protocols of the Elders of Zion that are outlawed there are clearly happening in real time right now in 1947. How could you deny that it's happening?
Okay.
He then said that this whole line of attack was a, quote, socialist Jewish conspiracy, unquote. Then he stated that socialists were, quote, the true anti-Semites, unquote, because the socialists are the only ones who are putting Jews in positions of power to fail across the world, which only makes people hate Jews more.
Oh, okay, so they're running all of the banks and the financial
and the governments. Yes.
But they're failing, and that's why people don't like them. Even though they're more rich than everybody else, allegedly.
He's stating that they're both crafty and ingenious.
Yep.
And stupid and slovenly.
Yeah.
It's the classic fascist playbook.
Yeah.
It's the same things Elon's constantly pumping out about all sorts of different people. And a lot of the people that Elon supports.
Yeah.
They'll constantly say that, oh my God, there's the caravan coming up. It's a well-organized caravan of people who will never get jobs and are lazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
or they're stealing our jobs.
Or they're stealing our jobs. Yeah. All of these things are true at the same time in his mind.
Yeah.
In this case, he's claiming that there's a secret cabal of socialists who may or may not be Jews.
Okay.
But the socialists are the ones who are installing Jews into power.
Okay.
To make and these Jews are not strong enough to handle what's in front of them.
Okay.
They can't do the job.
All right.
Which is making Christians mad at the Jews. Okay. So the socialists can get more power.
Oh, okay.
Now that's the dumbest conspiracy theory I've ever heard.
Socialists also notoriously really like super power hungry.
And also truly hate government. When it was pointed out to Haldeman that not all Jews are socialists or communists, he replied that Jews should, quote, join the Social Credit Party of Canada because social credit is vigorously pro-Christian and pro-Canadian.
Okay.
Yep. When he was told that, like, hey, not all Jews are communists and socialists, he was like, well, my organization's pro-Christian.
Yeah.
And he left it at that.
He's J.D. Vance answering a question.
Yes, 100%.
J.D. Vance. They're like, are you going to apologize for doing that? And he's like, people make mistakes. Things happen. Blah.
Now, and this is the thing. This is a guy who's up there. He's in the upper echelons of power.
Yeah.
He is, like, while he keeps losing, because again, in 1949, he runs again.
Keeps losing. He's not likable.
He runs again for federal parliament.
Didn't get it, did he?
Loses.
Yeah.
But this time he couldn't take it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. So he decided to finally step down as chairman of the Social Credit Party of Canada.
Of the SCC.
Yeah. Of the SCPOC.
Oh, God. And so what happened then?
So what happened then is there's a little aside I kept forgetting to mention. In 1947, Joshua Haldeman finds his true passion in life.
Okay. It's not ranching or chiropractic or running campaigns?
Flying planes.
Okay. That's a pretty expensive hobby, but all right.
Yeah. Well, he's doing pretty well. He's a chiropractor. He's just making money hand over fist. He said at one point I read that he treated up to 175 patients a day.
Yeah, it's like if you're not doing that much, you can treat a lot of people. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. He just walk in a room, go elbow drop, bam. All right, next. Actually, he didn't even walk into the room. They had to walk into the room to him, and he'd elbow drop him.
And then
he was just doing,
yeah.
Now get out of here, or I'll give you a CM Punk go to sleep. Now he started taking lessons in 1947.
Okay.
And by 1948, he had his full pilot's license. and he was obsessed with it. Flying really helped him out in his practice and also in his political organizing and everything. Because remember, Canada's huge. Mm-hmm. It's huge.
Yeah.
So he used to drive 6 to 8 hours between his practices because he would have a practice like way up north and then one down by the town. All these different places, people would come to him.
Oh, so he had a private jet to go back and
Not
forth.
a private jet. He had a prop plane.
No. In those times.
That
would be a Taylor Swift private jet.
Or an Elon Musk private jet, which he banned from being tracked on Twitter.
Oh, right. Because he doesn't want people to know how much he's private jetting around.
Yeah,
where
and he
he's
claimed
going.
it was a safety issue.
Yeah, because it's not safe for you to go visit Putin.
Meanwhile, the biggest issue with what he really cared about with Elon Musk was people seeing that he flew to Mar-a-Lago to personally meet with Donald Trump and then set up a $100 million super PAC to support Donald Trump and is now pumping out AI images to his millions and millions of followers on Twitter, trying to rot their brain.
Yeah. But listen, here's the good news.
But the good news is hopefully Elon holds up to Joshua Haldeman's work when it comes to politics. Because Joshua Haldeman famously lost every election he ever stood for.
There you go. That's true.
And so far, everyone that Elon has backed has dropped out or lost.
He is a failure. So, okay, the plane is helping him with his business.
Helping with his business. He also loves to take his family on trips.
Okay.
And the best thing the plane lets him do,
yeah,
it lets him get to Davenport, Iowa even easier to visit his friend BJ Palmer.
Besties.
Yeah. So he flew down in 1949. Okay. He flies to Davenport, Iowa to speak at the Palmer Lyceum. So it's a big chiropractic event, and he's there. And the whole time, by the way, he's also been arguing.
Is this the event where BJ ran over his dad?
I don't know if it was that event. I didn't look that closely into it. But this whole time, like through all the different chiropractic organizations, he is like arguing.
Yeah.
About like the future of chiropractic in Canada versus America and like how they should be treated and all these different things. He goes down and he gives a speech at the Lyceum, and the speech is about freedom.
Oh, sure.
Personal freedom.
Personal freedom. Chiropractors love personal freedom.
He loved talking about that. He flew with his family, including the 1-year-old twins, May and Kay.
1-year-olds on a plane?
Exactly. And so they were actually nicknamed the Flying Twins. And a photo of them with the plane went viral in 1949. And the Flying Twins were then also shown on an appearance on the local BJ Palmer-owned television channel, WHO-WOC. And when radio announcers were beginning to describe the young girls, they coined a new term. Telegenic.
Telegenic? Like photogenic, but for
television.
Okay.
They're very telegenic.
They're very.
That is a term that used to be around a lot more. Wow. It's not as much anymore because of phones, but like TV ready is that idea. Like they sell on television. Yeah. They look great on television.
They were like little Gerber babies.
Yeah, they were 1 year old. And that was on WHO-WOC, the television radio station.
Their radio station that gave us Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
I just want to point out, these chiropractors
They really fucked us.
Really just contributing a lot.
They really fucked us. You could have just laid on the floor until your back got fixed, but instead we got Ronald Reagan and Elon Musk.
Oh, God.
We currently have a bunch of astronauts stranded in the sky.
Oh, my God.
And they can't seem to get a Musk rocket ready fast enough.
Well, I've seen the way his cars behave on the road.
Listen, I saw his plan on trying to save kids out of that tunnel. Remember that?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what the famous tweet.
So bad at things.
That's where the pedophile tweet came from.
Okay.
What's
next?
For the cave diver. So, so that was like a very big thing.
May and Kay looking good on the flight.
Yeah. Now we're post World War II, and I'd like to bring something up. Okay. I mentioned before World War II, Coca-Cola had cocaine in it.
Yeah.
After World War II, it no longer had cocaine in it.
Boo!
But Haldeman was still trying to get it banned from Canada.
Come on, man.
He claimed to have been threatened repeatedly by the Coca-Cola company.
Big Coca-Cola was out to get him.
He claimed that people who stated that they were representatives of Coca-Cola threatened to murder him.
Oh.
And after one of his supporters, his Coca-Cola band supporters, died by falling out of a window.
Okay.
And that death was declared a suicide. He stated that Coke must have killed him.
I just pictured the Coca-Cola polar bear just like pushing
just
a guy
in the
out
corner.
A window. Just fucking.
I'll get you next.
Coca-Cola's busy. They don't have time to mess with some weirdo in Canada.
100%. So That takes us to 1950.
We're in 1950.
In the exact year.
This is the time when America was great, I've been told.
1950?
When they're always like, we got to go back to when it was good. This is the time.
Oh, okay. Because instead of going to America, where he could have moved as a American citizen,
yeah,
he sold all of his possessions and moved his family to South Africa.
Okay, 1950 South Africa is a different...
He straight up got rid of everything and moved the entire family to South Africa.
And what was his reason?
So he's given many reasons, but it should be noted that he did not know anyone in South Africa. He had shared correspondence with a single chiropractor who lived there, and he moved there without a plan or anything.
That's crazy.
He took his, I think, 4 or 5 young kids, put them on a boat for a month, where he himself stated that he was seasick the entire time. Oh. They got to South Africa. They slept on the beach for a while they built a plane and then flew around while looking for a new place to settle down. Haldeman stated in some interviews later that his reason for leaving Canada was that the Canadian political system had deteriorated into a power structure controlled by a secretive elite that wanted to control individual lives. And also, the moral standards of Canada had dropped below a foreseeable future for humanity. Basically, he thought Jews were running Canada and they wouldn't let him be racist enough anymore, so he moved to South Africa.
Okay. He built a plane out of what?
They used to sell plane kits back in the day.
Okay.
That part.
He
that
didn't
actually
have an address, so was it just delivered to beach at South Africa?
I think he was able to buy it from somebody down there. So plane kits were normal, but also like you would get a plane with plane parts and put them together.
Also, that's like crazy. At any point in this, does we discuss that maybe he's an addict of some sort?
He is weirdly, he's an adventure addict is one thing that his family says.
Yeah.
So when he builds the plane, he flies around all of South Africa.
Yeah.
With his wife and his kids, and they're doing all this different stuff. He really loves flying.
Yeah.
And Canada also was starting to have more and more restrictions.
Oh,
on
they were
flying.
putting rules in place.
South Africa didn't have this problem.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want
because only white people are allowed to fly. And there's not a lot of them. It's also a prettier place to look at, and it's nicer year round. So you're not running into as many snowstorms and things like that.
Got it.
He talks a lot about the climate, about how it's a higher altitude, but it's more like Florida. It's not like swampy. He just like loves it. Once he gets there, he loves it.
Well, no, what I was saying is that like it's clearly he's an adrenaline junkie.
Yes.
He's an adrenaline junkie. I was just wondering if he had if any of this, because again, and also hating Coca-Cola and the chiropractor thing. So I'm wondering is this a person who has addiction in his past or his family was, because the moving an entire family with no game plan and making them sleep on a beach is addict behavior.
It's crazy. It's lunatic shit.
Yeah.
Also, what's lunatic shit is flying around looking for the lost city of the Kalahari Desert.
What the fuck did you just say?
I don't know. It's like some mythical city
so
in a desert. So he
thinks it's in South Africa?
It's in the Kalahari Desert, which is down that way. And so he would get in his plane every summer and fly around the Kalahari, thinking he'd be the white guy to find it. Remember, this is the
Christopher
1950s.
Columbusing in the sky?
No, it's more like the Doc Samson or those adventure books from pulps from the 1920s of dudes, because this is a time when Machu Picchu was found.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? People were going through South America and finding ancient cities. They're finding Aztec pyramids and shit like that. So he wants to be.
They've been there. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we all knew they were there.
Yeah,
we kept them covered up so you fuckers wouldn't show up.
We've just been keeping them.
Oh my God! Did you just take a rock? That's how we lose a pyramid.
Put the rocks back.
So anyway, he flew around that. This is what his kids would later say. He liked to fly around a lot. He loved to fly a lot between South Africa and Rhodesia.
Okay.
Rhodesia was actually the worst, more worse than South Africa. It was a white ethno-state that no one in the world wanted to do any business with because of its hard practices.
Oh.
It no longer exists.
Okay.
But yeah, instead of South Africa, who eventually got rid of apartheid in the 80s, and that change happening there, Rhodesia had almost a damn near civil war. And there was a lot. In fact, to this day, Rhodesia is looked fondly by white supremacists heavily. If you ever see a person wearing a flag patch and it's a Rhodesian flag, that is a Nazi. You're talking to a Nazi. They often will put memes about Rhodesia online. There's a lot because they had 100% conscription rate because like even their women became fighters.
Okay.
Because of how when they were abandoned by the British Empire for being so fucking racist, they tried to go on their own way, and eventually the government toppled.
Okay.
It's a terrible place.
Yeah.
Elon Musk racist grandpa loved it. Thought it was great. Flew there all the time.
Yeah.
So he wrote a letter back to Canada that was printed as an op-ed in a newspaper.
I was going to say to Canada, and yes, you mean to Canada.
Yes, to Canada, specifically to the leader post of Regina, which is Regina, Saskatchewan in Canada. And he described his family's journey, all the wonders that they had seen, how much he loves the white ethno-state of Rhodesia. And then he also spent a good chunk defending the white South African government policies towards the black African natives. Now, at this time, it's not full apartheid, but he will defend that eventually on his own. Yeah. So I'm going to read you direct quotes. Let me look into this. These are not my words. These are the words of Joshua Norman Haldeman, the grandfather of Elon Musk and the reason Elon Musk was born in South Africa. Okay. Quote, "We have 2 native, in parentheses, Negro garden boys in the summer and 1 in the winter and a native girl. The law requires that we supply them with separate furnished rooms with 9-inch brick walls, private toilet, and shower. In fact, better living accommodations than I enjoyed for most of my life in Canada. We give them food and a lot of their clothing and pay them from $10 to $15 a month. It is impossible to make a native work hard. It takes 3 natives to do the work of 1 white man, and the white people here work about half as hard as Canadians."
Oh no.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to make fun of chiropractors. I knew the title you said he was going to be racist, and I guess I wasn't prepared for. I guess I should have. I knew it was apartheid South Africa. I knew what we were going into.
Yeah.
That's so okay.
Yeah. You ready for the next quote?
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch.
Okay.
This again is a quote.
He's looking into the
from
camera.
Elon Musk's racist grandfather, his maternal racist grandfather, the father of Elon Musk's mother, May Haldeman, and his name is Dr. Joshua Norman Haldeman. Just want to be clear about that for when some dickhead tries to do a clip.
Yeah.
Quote, "Black labor in South Africa industry is found to be the most expensive labor in the world. The males among the blacks on their reservations do not work at all, and the women may work an hour or 2, so on their reservations, their standard of living is not very high. But they are happy and contented with it unless stirred up, and stirring them up is almost an impossible job. In spite of the best efforts of the communists, they have had practically no success. Any talk of a native uprising in Africa is purely communist wishful thinking or propaganda. There is no place in the world where the natives are treated better nor receive higher wages than here. Quote, strict law enforcement is necessary to prevent the natives from surrounding territories from flocking in here. In here specifically is Pretoria, South Africa. And that strict law enforcement he's talking about and reservations is apartheid.
Yeah, okay. So he calls them lazy a lot.
Yep.
And then
and
apparently the communists are the only people that think they should revolt. And they're like, but they won't because they're too lazy. But then there's people from the outside of town who are trying to come in to either free them from apartheid, but they haven't been able to because of the police.
Yeah.
But they don't need the police
but
because they're
he's
lazy.
also, what he's claiming, the strict law enforcement is necessary to prevent the natives from the surrounding territories flocking in here, is what he's claiming is we have to, we can only let so many of them in.
Oh, they
because
are so
much
happy.
like a caravan of migrants trying to cross our southern border, they're going to come in here and steal all our resources and jobs.
Got it. Limited energy.
Limited energy in a technocracy. Now,
okay.
You ready for the next one?
No.
Quote. This is a quote from Elon Musk's racist grandfather. Chiropractic doctor.
You might actually have to edit this visual. Like, you need to put like a thing across the screen that runs across the screen.
I need to maybe put like a big X,
watermark.
Big
thing.
watermark.
Yeah.
Quote. A native may be able to read and write in 4 languages and have no understanding of them. Or maybe he just understands what he wants to understand. Some are quite clever in a routine job, but the best of them cannot assume responsibility and will abuse authority. The present government of South Africa knows how to handle the native question. They are endeavoring to make the natives as independent and self-supporting as possible. The communists and their fellow travelers continually misrepresents the government's efforts. This includes the international press reports.
So he does like the government.
Oh, he loves the government of South Africa.
Got it.
Because he can now see, and Canada doesn't have, or didn't, especially at that time, didn't have a black population to the same extent, especially where he was living in Canada.
Yeah.
But now he's in a place where he knows he's not being repressed because he can see people being repressed.
Yeah.
And he believes they deserve it because he believes they're subhuman.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, no, if you repress them, then I'm clearly not being repressed because they're being repressed and I'm not being treated like them.
Yeah.
That's his thought process. And he's telling other Canadians to come there. Let me tell you exactly how many he wants there to be.
No.
Ready? This is the final quote from the book, from the article that he wrote, the op-ed that he wrote to the Saskatchewan newspaper, written by Elon Musk's racist grandfather, Dr. Joshua Norman Haldeman. Quote, everything seems to be booming here. Increasing industrial activity and mining prospecting is going ahead very fast. The country seems to have unlimited opportunities for development. The Rhodesias and South Africa could easily stand 50 million white people. We flew over hundreds of miles in which we could scarcely even see a native hut. So he's pro-colonialism.
And is his grandfather the one that started the Emerald Mine?
No, that was his dad.
Okay.
His dad claimed to have bought an emerald mine in Zambia, and there's fights back and forth of how true that was.
Yeah.
And by emerald mine, it wasn't like a whole, like a cave go down mine.
Yeah.
It's like kind of a light strip mine, an area where there just is emeralds, apparently and allegedly coming out of the ground, basically. Mm-hmm. Sure, whatever.
Okay.
So Dr. Joshua, that was the end of the big.
That's all of those quotes are from the letter that he wrote to be published in the newspaper.
He wanted all of Canada to read this.
Did he pay to publish it? Like it was an ad?
No, it's just an op-ed. It was an op-ed in the paper.
That's okay.
Yep. So he would become close friends with many South African leaders. And in fact, he himself would do chiropractic work on South Africa, a South African president, and other different layers of it. His office, I think, like the governor's mansion, like overlooked his office.
Okay.
Like he had like his primo location. So he's very in with the government.
Yeah.
He also writes 2 books. He writes multiple books, but 2 books in particular I want to highlight. The first one is The International Conspiracy to Establish a World Dictatorship and the Menace to South Africa, written in 1960. Mm-hmm. That book was written because the Prime Minister of Britain came to South Africa and was like, hey, your apartheid is pretty fucking racist. Maybe dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And
when the British are saying that.
Yeah, the British
that's
said
something.
that. Yeah. It was the Prime Minister, when we're watching The Crown, the Prime Minister who smoked the pipe. When they had the coal slide thing, that Prime Minister is the one who went down there, was like, you guys are pretty fucking racist.
This is crazy, guys.
And he made all of South Africa mad with that. They were like, we're going to leave the Commonwealth.
Okay.
The other book he wrote is The International Conspiracy in Health.
So he loves a conspiracy.
He loves a conspiracy. So the conspiracy to establish a world dictatorship and the menace to South Africa, that's the Jews and socialists.
I was going to say, was it Jewish people?
And the book about the conspiracy in health is about how the socialist Jews are using water fluoridation, vaccines, and health insurance to mind control Christians.
Oh no! Here we go. I knew the fluoride would be one.
Yeah,
because I knew the vaccines would be one.
You knew it because he's a chiropractor.
But health insurance.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So here's some quotes. So he believed that submitting to national health care, so actually having nationalized the NHS or having universal health care was one of the conspiracies, one of the way the conspiracies were allowing, quote, black or colored political puppets to take control of responsible white people. The conspiracy, he warned, controls universities, medical schools, and even textbooks. Quote, the conspiracy feels that any medical intervention, so long as it is in mass, is a desirable procedure. Above all, quote, promoters of the world government have always been behind max vaccination programs.
Oh, God.
So if you're wondering why Elon went crazy during COVID.
Yep.
Haldeman and his wife, Winnie, they raised
I forgot about Winnie.
Yep. They raised their children.
To be just like them?
In South Africa.
Yep.
Their daughter, May, would help with the monthly bulletins for the chiropractic office.
Sure.
She would photocopy newsletters, including all sorts of different things. And she would also do the postage. So she would stuff the envelopes and lick the stamps.
Okay.
May and Kay worked as receptionists at their father's chiropractic office starting at the age of 12.
Okay.
May was, as you stated at the beginning, she's very beautiful. She's still beautiful to this day.
Yeah.
She's incredibly beautiful. And she was a finalist in the 1969 Miss South Africa beauty competition. Whites only.
Oh, okay.
I had to look that up. It was whites only until 1977. They allowed non-white competitors in after 1977, but they did not have a non-white winner until the 90s.
Yeah.
You could compete. You weren't going to win.
Yeah.
Because I think the judges were still all white.
Yeah.
Okay. It was hard to find more information about that because they're like, guys, we're really trying to...
We got to hide that.
We're really trying to move on. In 1970, May married a man she met at Clapham High School.
Okay.
His name was Elon Musk.
Errol.
Their first son and Joshua Norman Haldeman's grandson, Elon Musk, was born in 1971. He bounced on Joshua's knee quite a few times. Joshua, though, died in 1974 in a plane accident.
Oh.
He was piloting the plane.
Well,
the wheels of the plane got stuck on some telephone wires, and it just boomeranged right into the ground.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to. That sounds funny as hell.
It's funny as fuck.
You gotta die the way you live, baby.
Elon's racist pop slingshotted himself to the ground at the age of 72. Like a racist Wile E. Coyote. Just splat. Fuck that motherfucker.
Yo.
Yeah. Winnie lived till the age of 98 years old, dying in 2014.
Yeah, only the good die young.
Yep. But it should be reminded that Winnie was with him the whole time. Winnie had probably similar thoughts. We actually don't know much about Winnie because it's a traditional household.
A traditional Christian household.
Elon spent a lot of his summers on his uncle's ranch. And his uncle, obviously very influenced by his dad. And his uncle has written very fondly about his father, Joshua Norman Haldeman. And Elon had a pretty close relationship with that uncle until he moved to America.
Okay.
So this is where he starts.
This is the beginning.
This is part one.
Elon Musk.
This is part one of the Elon Musk cycle.
Yeah, and we're not going to go back to back like we did.
No.
With
no.
Betty Davis.
I don't know when I'm going to come back to Elon.
I need a breather. I'll tell you that.
I know you need a breather.
I need a what's the oh god, I wish my brain worked. The little sorbet that you get in between meals to cleanse your palate.
Yes, I know. Yeah,
there's a word for it.
A palate cleanser?
No, but there's another word for it.
Okay. An aperitif?
Yes.
Is that the word?
No, that aperitif is a drink after dinner.
Damn it.
I know.
We don't know anymore because our brains are rotten.
My brains have been scrambled into little eggs.
Now, Mrs. P.
Yeah.
This episode's still not done.
Yeah.
Because we have so many new Patreons.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
That we want to greet. And before we hop into that, we just want to say, guys, this has been a little bit of a longer episode.
Has it been? I don't even know what time it is.
We're at 1:20.
Holy shit.
We're a little bit longer. So please stick around to the end and find out what this week's secret word is going to be, so you can get down there in the comments.
Oh, it's going to be
dicey.
It's going to
be a dicey one.
Oh, no.
And hopefully we'll have chosen an editor by this point to put some big old fucking watermarks all over those quotes. It was one of those ones I was reading these quotes. I mean, the last thing I'll say about him is there is more.
Yeah.
But I got to a point where I was like, I have to end this.
Yeah.
I have to.
For your own sanity.
For my own sanity. I mean, once he gets to South Africa, I mean, the books themselves, those quotes I had to find from an article because the books themselves are actually considered rare books because there's so few of them. So we don't have a lot of his racist writings.
Yeah.
We know of them through things. The same way we know of certain like Latin ancient Roman poems, where there's a reference to them in another work type of deal. So we know of them like that way, and there's some people who have them out there. I'm sure Elon's been trying to buy them up, or maybe not. Maybe he likes them being out there because he himself is a fucking Nazi.
Well,
So yeah, I don't care. Whole chest, motherfucker, whole chest.
See, for the first time ever, I'm like, oh man, is he? Okay.
You want me to hit this button?
No, it's not a legend.
Oh no, this button.
Yeah, let's go.
You're a fucking Nazi, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And you do weird stuff with cum. We will get into that in another episode.
What?
You have no idea what's in this goddamn document. There is so fucking much. There is so much. This is. We bought a printer for me to print this. Okay?
I love that we're like, we got to invest money into our podcast. It's get a research assistant to help us because there's so much shit on Musk, and then to get a printer to print it out.
Yeah, and then I didn't read a single line from this.
Because you got so stuck in the first paragraph.
No, this was the first paragraph. This is what he wrote. His grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, moved to South Africa from Canada, believed in technocracy, and was a racist. He moved to South Africa and became a prominent chiropractor. There are a few articles that go into more depth behind paywalls. And I said, bet, motherfucker. I'll find what I can find for free, and I also know my way around a paywall or two. Let me tell you something. The amount your boy will open an article and then hit that reader button before it can fucking put that little banner thing over it on his iPhone, bitch. I will screenshot an article before I pay the goddamn Atlantic.
You ready to do some Hey Hun shoutouts?
Let's do some Hey Hun shoutouts and everybody else. Guys, thank you so much for everybody who's still listening. We'll talk to you in just after this little bumper.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania.
500.net. Look at us. Oh my God.
Synced up.
It's almost like we're married and we finish each other's
dinners.
Oh my God. The line sandwiches.
Oh.
You wait until the kid gets into Frozen. You'll fucking know. Anyway, we have a lot. Of new members that we want to give a shout out to this week.
Go.
And a lot of them have some pretty incredible names.
I'm excited about that.
So I'm super pumped about it. So let's go ahead and start going down this list. We're going to start off today with Chandra Sullivan.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Teresa Meador.
Hey, hun.
Or Meador. It's Meador.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Miss_Misery.
Oh, Miss. That's a good name.
Yeah, Miss
That's
Misery.
like a roller derby name.
That is it's not a drag name. It's a roller derby name.
It's a roller derby
real.
name.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, hun.
Or a wrestler. Like a low-level independent wrestler. Coming to the ring, Miss Misery.
Yeah.
That would be a good ballet name.
Ooh.
He's coming to the ring being escorted by Miss Misery.
I feel like Miss Misery is her own gal. She's not.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, it's like that. It could work for both.
Yeah.
After that, we have Brian Body.
Hey, Brian.
Body yaddy yaddy. After that, we have all right. Let's go. Underscore time. Garrick _and_Bashir _wedding _officiate _because _fuck _you _Rick _Berman _you _coward.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, buddy.
Spite and rage of specific things about Deep Space Nine to be brought to the front of the line. Of course.
All while I'm wearing my Deep Space Nine
That being
shirt.
said, I don't like Bashir, but Garrick.
No,
Garrick.
because Garrick fixed Bashir.
Yeah, he
Bashir
did.
grew as a character. Like Here's the thing.
Okay, by the final seasons, I liked Bashir.
Yeah, because of the relationship he has with Garrick.
Yeah.
Garrick explains to him how to be a person, not be a bag of shit, even though he still does bag of shit stuff.
Yeah. He feels bad about it.
He feels bad about it, at least. That's a change for him.
And it's so funny because Garrick is allegedly a bad guy.
He's allegedly a bad guy, but also it's quite clear, because I watched a documentary about it, that Rick Berman, like, even says, like, it's pretty clear, and the actor who played him, very, very clear that this is a gay love affair.
Yeah.
That they were so scared to even act upon that they refused to even acknowledge it. So yeah, fuck you, Rick Berman, you coward. I'll dig it. After that, okay, _fine, _you, _got, _me, _I, _need, _to, _access, _to, the, _warm, _ups.
Yeah, let's go. First one's free, baby.
Okay, fine, you got
Tasty
me. I need
little
access
num-num-nums.
to the warm-ups. That's
That's
good.
how they get you on the Coca-Colas back in the day, too.
Yeah, now you're going to
Have
drink
a free glass of Coca-Cola.
Now you're gonna have 20
It's 1920.
20 warm-ups. After that, we have Kate the Great.
Hey, Kate.
After that, we have kayfabing _my, _way, _through, _life.
Yo, facts.
Kayfabing my way.
Fake it till you make it,
that's
baby.
100% true. Please.
Please.
Honestly, if you're ever
The
having
imposter syndrome, when you feel the imposter syndrome in your skin, you just got to be like, listen, there are mediocre people around me.
They're your boss. They're your boss.
Your boss can't print a PDF. You can fake it till you make it anywhere.
I'm just want to tell you guys, the day I stopped getting imposter syndrome was the day I was working at a bank, and a man came in, and I realized, like, he didn't know how to tie his shoes. Like, he was like and he had an assistant. And this assistant did everything, and she had clearly been like the family assistant like his entire life. And I even asked around, like, is this dude like half? They're like, no, he's just rich.
Just rich.
He couldn't do anything. And I looked at his bank account.
Zeros.
The amount of zeros he had in his checking, I never like fathomed that number as money, like as money I could touch.
Yeah.
And I was just like, from that moment forward, I was like, no.
Yeah.
No one can tell me shit.
We're kayfabing through life forever.
After that, we have Taylor Roche.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Fishbine Appreciation Club.
Hey, absolutely. It is a club we are in. He would appreciate this episode.
He would. And how... No, honestly, he wouldn't, because it would hurt him how badly Chiropractic kept going.
He would have liked the end.
After that, the guy catapulting into the ground. Yeah, he would have liked that. After Fishbine Appreciation Club, we have another _yelling _redhead.
Oh, more than one out here, baby. Hey,
after that, we have deuces _my _gooses.
This is my gooses.
That's
a
good
one.
After that, we have Alicia.
Hey, Alicia.
After that, we have wish _I _was _magistra _Pearlman _in _the _Mediterranean taking _a _mid-afternoon _nap.
Yo, Magisha wishes she was too.
Yeah, because right now I can hear the baby. We got to wrap this up. After that, we have Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
After that, we have Rebecca W.
Hey, Rebecca.
After that, we have Linda Handalong.
Hey, Linda Handalong.
Yeah.
Hey, hon.
All right. After that, we have Jesse _needs _a _job .
Jesse, you got this. It's going to happen for you.
You got this.
Don't worry about it. Keep the vibes up and the energy out there, and kayfabe till you make it, babes.
Yep. After that, we have Makatov.
Oh, hey, hun.
After that, we have Julie Fugit.
Hey, Julie.
Or a Fugit.
Maybe it's Fugit.
Yeah, there's a Fugit near us that I went to school years and years and years ago. Yeah. But yeah, it might be Fugit, might be Fugit. We'll figure it out. Julie,
Fugazi.
Tell us in the comments. After that, we have Garrett Calkins.
Hey, Garrett.
After that, we have Farty Marley.
Farty Marley? That is an incredible... I picture a golden retriever named that.
No, I'm just thinking Farty and Marley. Oh!
Ever Sungreed. Oh, Christmas is so close.
So close. After that, we have Bored at Work 89.
Bored at Work, baby.
20 better than that twofer. And lastly, our last one of today, Brianna Dupras.
Hey, Brianna. I thought you were going to say of Tarth, but hey, hun.
That has been our show.
We got to come up with a word.
We do have to come up with a word.
I think it should be slingshot.
I think you're right. I think in the comments, slingshot my heart.
Slingshot.
Slingshot my heart.
Okay.
slingshot my heart, because that's exactly what happened. Slingshot. The visual of just
yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? I'm picturing it like the Survivor catapult with the watermelon.
I don't know what that is.
You've never seen that GIF?
No.
Oh my God. There is an episode of Survivor. Or maybe it was The Greatest Race or one of those where they have to catapult a watermelon. And it's a big catapult that's like a slingshot. You pull all the way back.
Sure.
And the lady has a huge watermelon on it. And she lets go. And it doesn't launch. It doesn't launch outward. It shoots the watermelon right back into her face. And like, it's insane. She's fine. It's the crazy. You're like, oh my God. And the fact they aired it on CBS
sounds like
is
a video
wow.
I would love.
I'm going to show it to you. You're going to cackle. Okay. Because you know why? Because it's a slingshot of my heart.
Oh, wow.
All right. That's our show. Mrs. P, any final words?
Have a great week, y'all. Summer's over. Fall.
And too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.